Morning, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, just to let you know, I've just got back from doing Route 66 2 days ago. So you're very welcome. Hold on, I'm gonna have to crack the visor. I'm steaming up. No such thing like this over in America where the heat was sweltering. Well, when we were going through New Mexico and Arizona, the heat hit 46 degrees Celsius. And bearing in mind, we obviously were wearing motorcycle gear and everything. I've never experienced heat like that. So when you were riding a motorbike, it was just like driving through the biggest hairdryer ever. I've got to tell you this straight away because I've literally just got on my GS, and let me tell you, I don't think I've ever been as pleased to see my bikes in all my life. Because riding my GS now, it feels like a sports bike, a very nimble sports bike. The reason I wanted to bring this out and not the Street Triple is I think my Street Triple would feel like a toy compared to the Harley-Davidson Street Glide that I've been riding for the last 2 weeks. First of all, I've got videos about everything coming. Obviously, I've got a series of videos coming about Route 66, and I actually fed it all into the edit yesterday, and just looking through some of the rushes, I just can't wait to bring you those videos. Why am I steaming up so much? Yeah, just can't wait to bring you them videos. But I've also got a few sort of bonus videos or separate videos coming. I've done a full review because after spending 2 weeks on what I consider to be a bag of spanners, that Harley-Davidson, after spending 2 weeks on it, I felt qualified and compelled to bring you a user review after 2 weeks. What I will tell you as a teaser to that is that I learned something very deep about myself. A lot of people do Route 66 and treat it a bit like the Camino de Santiago, you know, they go off to sort of find themselves. In a way, I was sort of looking into that as well, you know, and that's part of the reason I did it. Just a fraction of the reason I did it. You all know why I did it, to raise money for the Children's Health Foundation back here in Ireland. But I was, you know, wondering if I'd discover anything about myself, and I did. A huge thing about myself, and that is I will never ever buy a Harley-Davidson. So if that's all I learned about myself, then it was worth going for that. My wife was convinced I would come back and say I wanted to buy a Harley-Davidson. To be honest, I was as well, because you know what I'm like. Anyway, that is never ever going to happen. The bike is flawed, and I was on a new one with the 117 engine, Street Glide. Dreadful, flawed in so many ways, bad design. I'll go into it on the review. I'm only just telling you a few tidbits now, if you like. Not to tease you, but I just have to get it off my system. Now, it's lovely to be back in Ireland, getting stuck behind a tractor, because the size of the trucks in Route 66, obviously not all of Route 66 exists anymore, so we ride parallel to it on the interstates and everything, and the size of the trucks, and when you're joining an interstate, you have to get your speed up on that slip road, because those trucks ain't going to slow down for you. We were split into groups, so there was 60 riders in total actually. We were split into groups, and we sort of staggered the groups. We were sort of, in my group there were 9 riders on 6 bikes, so 3 bikes were riding pillion with their wives. I couldn't have been in a better group. Honestly, I've met so many incredible people over the last 2 weeks, and I knew that I was going to be out of my comfort zone, so I knew I had to push myself beyond that. And again, that's another reason people do things like Route 66, and I'm delighted that I did do it. All will be portrayed in the videos, of course. You know, I'm not going to try and tell you everything about the route in this sort of 10-minute video. This is just basically an update. The other thing I have to tell you about is that whilst we were away, there were again, this is not a GoPro knocking thing, okay, but whilst we were away, obviously a lot of riders bought their camera gear for the first time. People without knowing still went to GoPro, came away, and guess what? Yes, of course, the GoPro failed. One lovely lad, Dara, his GoPro failed before the big finale when we rode down on the end of Route 66. We rode down onto Santa Monica Pier with a huge LAPD police escort, fire engines, making they had the ladders up, making an arch for us to ride under, and the firemen stood at the side of the road, like 15 firemen, all saluting us. Anyway, those are just incredible moments, of which there are hundreds coming in the videos. But this poor lad's GoPro 13 failed him the day before, and he lost all of that footage. So yeah, back to my point is that my camera gear, all of my DJI stuff, of which I bought everything myself, I am not sponsored or affiliated by them. I just think they do incredible products. And a trip like Route 66, which is a once in a lifetime trip for me and a bucket list thing, I captured every single frame without flaw, without anything. Nothing went wrong with the camera gear. However, back to the motorbike. The electronics went wrong. It was telling me, it was basically disabling the riding modes. I was, being told that I had a puncture when I didn't, and then the puncture light would go off, the flat tire light, and all of this stuff. Things worked one day, things didn't the next. And on top of that, it was a big, heavy lump of a yoke. Like I say, I'll go into it on the review. I just wanted to say that I'm over the moon to be back. I'm over the moon to have been part of 60 riders who raised €402,000, which goes directly towards sick children in Ireland. So obviously we raised more than that. I don't know what the gross figure is, but that's the net figure, which goes directly towards the children's hospitals. And it was just a trip of a lifetime. It was absolutely amazing. Now, to the food, let's talk about the food. I lost a stone in weight before we went, knowing rightly that I'd probably put a lot of that back on. And I was very good after day 4, because I was vlogging all the way through like this, and I had to keep my energy up, and I had to sort of think and do a bit of research at night times about where we were going the following day and all that. It was full on now for myself. So I needed mental energy. After day 4 I was drained, and I couldn't figure out if it was the heat, if it was the social battery running low, what it was. And I thought I'll just try my best and change a bit of diet tomorrow. And one of the ladies in my group, a wonderful woman called Bernie, wife of Tom, I noticed every lunchtime she was eating the healthiest option she could find. I didn't know what half of this food was, because it's all named differently over there. So I sort of followed her dietary plan, and ended up having more salads than burgers, even though I was having burgers sometimes in salads, but without the bread bun and all that. Anyway, literally within a day I felt so much better. So I just kept saying to Bernie, whatever you're having, I'm going to have, so I did that, and thank you, Bernie, because you kept my diet on the right track. And actually, I weighed myself this morning, and I've only put 3 pounds on. In a fortnight of riding Route 66, I've only gained 3 pounds. Bearing in mind, I've been sitting down for 2 weeks as well, with very little exercise. So I'm sort of delighted with that. Actually, going back to the camera thing for a second, I made a separate video as well, just about when I was over there, just about exactly how I recorded everything, where my camera placement was, what I was doing with the 360. The 360 camera was invaluable. So even though I'm praising DJI, I must praise Insta360 as well. That camera just got me incredible shots, especially when we were coming down through Arizona. Those beautiful open roads in front of you, where every shot looks like an Eagles album cover, you know that one? And so I got some amazing shots from the Insta360, and again, that performed flawlessly. But I only ever use that for effects shots. I never feed sound into that. I never use it as the main sort of vlogging camera. It's only for effects shots. So that's what I use it for. In total, we did, well, I did, because we all did a slightly different mileage. So, because we all had a day off, one day off, which was last Wednesday. I chose to go to the Grand Canyon on my day off. It was a 4-hour round trip, and then I spent the day up there riding the south lip of the Grand Canyon, and I did that by myself. So that's one of the challenges I wanted to do by myself as well, go off for the day in somewhere like America, up to the Grand Canyon, and sort of navigate my way around there and enjoy my own company for a day as well. And it was invaluable. It recharged the batteries in more ways than one. It was great. So I've made a separate video about that as well. Of course I did. So even on my day off, I was still out filming. The Grand Canyon was like some... I've never... It doesn't matter how many photographs or videos you look at of the Grand Canyon, until you're there in person looking at the expanse, nothing will explain how beautiful, how incredible that site is. And there's not many things in my life which literally take my breath away. That did. It's hardly surprising it's one of the 7 wonders of the world. So because I did that Grand Canyon by myself, my total mileage riding Route 66 from Chicago over to LA, well, Santa Monica Pier, including the Grand Canyon trip, was 4,205 kilometers. Not miles, 4,205 kilometers. So to do that on a bike that I'd never ridden before, which was the same for a few of us, there's a reason it's called a challenge. And one thing I will say about the Harley is that the comfort is unrivaled. I thought it was incredibly comfortable. Not everybody did. But I just thought it was amazing. It's the only way as well, if you're going to do Route 66 for the first time, you have to do it on a Harley. There's a few lads there on BMWs, and I was wondering, well, you can't really do it on a BMW, a GS or an RT, even the 1600s. Like, why would anybody do it on that apart from a Harley? And then after riding my Harley for 2 weeks, I thought, yeah, okay, then if I ever did it again, it would be on a BMW. And in fact, a lot of these lads, in fact, a lot of the group has already done the trip before. In fact, some people I spoke to, they've done it 10 times. This is their 10th time. But for my first time, it was always going to have to be a Harley. So yeah, the comfort on the Harley was amazing. Everything else, it's a flawed machine. I've said enough about the Harley. I'm gushing about talking about this, like all the negative things as well. So anyway, sorry about that. I really don't want to sound negative, because you know, ultimately we have raised all of that money for the Children's Health Foundation. We've all had the experience of a lifetime. All 60 riders came back safe and sound. What more can you ask for? It was incredible, and that's a bucket list thing for me, ticked off. Ever since I saw a film when I was a young teenager in the UK, I watched a film called Convoy, and it was all about trucks driving across America and their convoy of trucks getting bigger as they went. And they were all using CB radios to organise this. Ever since I saw that film, I thought, I want to drive across America. That was maybe 12, 13 years old I was. And then obviously I fused that with my love of motorcycles at the time, which had already grown rapidly at that stage. So when I fused the two and thought, would it be an idea to ride a motorcycle across the States? And then I heard in my teens about something called Route 66 at school. It was always a dream of mine to ride Route 66 on a motorcycle, and 2 days ago I completed that, and it still raises the hair on my back when I think what we've all just achieved, and the bucket list thing that I've just ticked off. So with that in mind, folks, I'm going to leave you with this short video. I've probably rattled on far too long. All I will say is, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please become one, because I promise you, the series of videos coming to this channel about Route 66 very soon, if not next weekend, are just going to be possibly the best things I've ever produced for WheelieGoodTV. So thank you so much for tuning into this. I can't wait to see your reaction to the videos I'm going to bring you. Yeah, have a great week, everybody. Right, safe. Dave Perry, back in Ireland for WheelieGoodTV. Have a great week, everybody. Over and out.